Friday, June the 8th. I started the recording without hiding the secret number pad that I use to switch the screens. Now you know how that works. I don't know if I'm drunk. I wouldn't operate a car at the moment. I'll tell you. Would not do that. It is Friday. We're going to do science, business. I think there's some gaming news in here and nonsense. This is the short one this week. It's a good thing too because we're in a spiral. We're spiraling down right now. I didn't rearrange the stories at all. We'll take them as they come. We're playing it fast and loose at this point in the week. Also, wine is disgusting. Have I mentioned that? Ugh. How about London? Now, if you watched the previous episodes, which you should have done, if you haven't, just pause this and go watch those. The payment system, Visa, American Express, and I think MasterCard, went down on Friday in most of Europe. Bad news, right? Bad news for the cashless society, which this story is promoting. And this is saying that buskers, I like that word. It's another way of saying filthy street people. But these are the musicians and the performers that you see in the street. You can now pay them with tapping your credit card. You can trust dirty street people to not steal your credit card information by tapping your credit card to pay them so that they can take up public space and make noises that you might not want to hear. The Verge thinks this is a good thing. Is it? But they do point out that this could be racist because some people might not have access to the infrastructure to set up these tap payments. And if it's a cashless society and you don't have access to the infrastructure because you are a protected species, how does this affect you? Negatively. Yeah. But, be aware if you like street performances and you want to throw a couple of dollars at them from now on, you don't have to take change with you. You can just do the contactless payment. I bet Apple will introduce near field communication for giving money to buskers as well. What a world. What a world. How about EVs? Electric vehicles, or EVs as you might call them, if you're the kind of person that I hate. There's 3 million. 3 million, says the IEA, which is an acronym that I do not know the definition of. But Reuters out of London is saying yes, in fact, 3.1. Look at these little guys. They're tiny. They're saying that, International Energy Agency. That's impressive. But they're saying, 3.1 million of these little bad boys on the roads, which is quite an increase year over year. I don't know how much of an increase, but it's an increase. So if you're the kind of person who likes electronic vehicles, then actually you probably hate this, right? Because you're probably like, I want to be special. I'm special. I drive an EV. Speaking of EVs, back to Tesla. Tesla. Well, this is actually some rare good news for Tesla. Last week, we talked about the Tesla Consumer Reports situation where they said they didn't like the Model 3 because its braking was bad. Here's a pro tip. BRAKE. Brake. That signifies stopping, applying a kinetic force to slow down or stop a mechanical system. BREAK, break, means to, separate or snap something in two. A lot of you don't understand that discrepancy, and you need to. because you're driving me crazy in those comments. Spell it correctly. It's important. It's the English language. It's what separates us from the animals. Anyway, Consumer Reports have changed their tune. They have decided, after a breaking fix, note the spelling, that, in fact, the Model 3, it's good after all. It turns out that the braking system was nothing physical, but rather a software ABS problem. And they were able to fix it. Here's my question. If you're testing a car, let's say that you hired me and you said, all right, we're going to test this car. So run some car tests. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to run some car tests. I'll make a checklist, acceleration. That would be on my checklist. I would put in handling. That would be one of my bullet points. Braking. That would be toward the top of the list. Yeah. How do you screw that up and then have to fix it in software? Did you not test the Model 3s, the braking? I mean, Consumer Reports did their test and it was, yeah. Anyway, that's all good now. Go out and buy one. Everything's cool. Have fun with it. How about Reddit? Oh, GDPR. How about Reddit surpassing Facebook to become the third most visited site in the United States? US stands for United States, in case you didn't know. And you can see this picture here. They've got Google as this attractive Asian woman, still number one. But here's Reddit physically attacking Facebook and putting them down. Interestingly, they don't represent number two, which is, I think, is YouTube, which you're watching right now. So yeah, here we are in a world where Reddit has taken the brass ring away from Facebook for the third most visited site. Now, this is based on the Alexa ratings, which are maybe not super accurate, but bragging rights, right? You can brag about it. Hey, we're better than Facebook. I like to brag that I'm better than Facebook often. I like to tell people that. Now, in terms of who are the more uppity, entitled douchebags, Facebook users and Reddit users, a dead heat. You can't call a winner. So, yeah. Who would you rather be trapped in an elevator with? Reddit user or Facebook user? There's no winner. There's only losers. Only losers in that equation. But speaking of Facebook, this is one of these times when they just happen to be next to each other because I didn't rearrange anything. Facebook trending section. Well, it's dead. It's no more. We must, you know what? I would pour some out for the Facebook trending section, but there's carpet under me, and that would be. I'll just drink some for. How's that? Facebook trending section going away. The trending section has been a bit of a problem for Facebook. What they found was when they left the trending section up to the users like to look at stories that Facebook didn't quite approve of. Like they like to look at the dumb shit, the alien stories and the fake news and whatever. And Facebook was like, no, we want you to read what we think is real. And the people they weren't going for it. So over time, they've done different things to try to tweak that and make it not quite what the users want. And so the users stopped using it. And now they've decided to get rid of it altogether because no one cares. Now, the alarming part and the most interesting part of this story is that it will be replaced by 80 international news sources. What are those 80 international news sources? Nobody knows. So basically, Facebook is taking away what the users want to see and replacing it with what they want the users to see. So the future news experiences, they're like, that's the future news experiences. I don't know what that means. It's very different. The browser does not want to scroll at this point. We've reached the end of the news. and the browser is he's been so molested by these scripts and so forth. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Breaking news. Breaking news. I don't know. I'll say what I usually say about Facebook. You should stop using it. And if you're getting your news from there, good Lord. I mean, you'd be better off getting your news from some drunken ne'er-do-well on YouTube than you would Facebook. Jesus. Well, rarely can you talk about Facebook without talking about what's coming next. I think you know, Uganda. And Uganda has looked to pass a tax law on social media users. That's right. What? How would you do that, you ask? Well, first, my favorite part about this story, look at this gentleman. He does not approve of what you're up to. This guy's hilarious. It's a stock photo. I don't like. Who is this man? I don't know, but I'm terrified of him. Look at that guy. That's a sweet hat. So anyway, Uganda is putting a 5 cent per day tax on the use of social media. What? No one knows what it means. Is it just like every day that you log in? Is it every day that you post something? How are they going to enforce it? All of these things are unknown. No one knows exactly what this means, except the Ugandan government is adamant that this will be a thing, and they feel that social media is it's causing gossip. They don't like that. They've also been known to shut down Facebook and stuff during elections. You know, that happens a lot. And so it just seems like maybe somebody posted some things on Facebook that the government doesn't like, and they're trying to think of a way to target that. But 5 cents a day. Here's a question for the comments. Would you pay 5 cents per day to post on any social media? You know, we'll include YouTube. If you're going to make a comment on this video, would you pay 5 cents to do it? Because 5 cents isn't much, but it adds up over time. Maybe you'd save up and do all your posting on Sunday, for example. Right? That'd be cool. That'd be a good idea. That would be cool. I don't know why I said that. Speaking of third world countries, and I know that's a controversial way of describing these countries, less technologically advanced countries, and Facebook. How about Papua New Guinea? Is it Papua? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm going to say Papua. Papua New Guinea bans Facebook for a month to root out fake users. Your questions at this point are probably, how does shutting it down for a month root out the fake users? They want to do analytics. How does shutting it down for a month help you do analytics? None of these questions have been answered by the Papua New Guinea government. It's also true that only about 12 to 15% of the Papua New Guinea population has the internet. And so you would imagine that the subset of people who use Facebook are less than 12 to 15%. So it doesn't really affect a lot of people, but they're doing it. And some of the activists in the country are thinking this is sort of a trial run to see how much pushback there'll be to just getting rid of Facebook entirely. And they're probably right. But if you're in Papua New Guinea, please comment, because I would love to know if we have people watching in Papua New Guinea. I know nothing about that place. I'll go ahead and I'll be upfront about it. But I'm interested to learn. I would like to learn about new cultures. Also, that's government corruption. I've almost finished this bottle. Poorly planned. Well, speaking of Facebook, what about the teenagers, right? Teenagers, they're the future. I often say I'm often criticized for saying that the children are our future. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but I stand by it. The children are our future. And what are they doing? What are they online doing? Well, not so much Facebook anymore. From 71% from a poll in 2015, this is a Pew Research poll, from 71% to 51%. Now, those kinds of mathematics are too advanced for me, but that's quite a drop. So it seems the teens have moved to YouTube, which is where we are. Hey, welcome teens, Instagram and Snapchat, and they are abandoning Facebook in droves. This is one of those stories, of course they are, because my parents are on Facebook. I'm pushing 40, and my parents are on Facebook. So of course the teens don't want to be on Facebook. They want to be hip and cool. And, you know, they want to do things that make old people angry. And Facebook, if old people accept Facebook, that's not where it's at. That's not with it. So, luckily for Mark Zuckerberg, America's #1 robot, he owns some of those other services too. So, yeah, Instagram. You're still putting money in his pockets. Good job. That's the end of social media, and now we're moving into science. And I love this story. This is one of my favorite stories of the week. An unlimited supply of human corneas. I love the idea of an unlimited supply of human corneas. I don't know why, but I just imagine people. It's like, oh, hey, don't stare into the sun. And it's like, bro, there's an unlimited supply of human corneas. And it's like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, do whatever you want. Just run head first into running fan blades, because it doesn't matter, because there's an unlimited supply of human corneas. What a great world we've entered into. So these guys have figured out how to 3D print the cornea. In case you're not hip to the anatomy of the eye, is the lens on the front of the eye. All right. If you ever see what they do, one of those horrifying eye surgeries, that's the part that they like scrape aside. It's you should check that out. You should YouTube that, and just it's cringy. But they can just 3D print those bad boys now and use stem cells and introduce that, and stem cell magic, boom, human cornea. And whatever happens to yours, they'll whack them off and put another one in, and you're good to go. It's fantastic. This is fantastic news. Unlimited supply of human corneas. We have rarely seen a headline that good. How about a real life flux capacitor? This is actually a Wendell story, because Wendell fucking loves the pop culture references. If you haven't seen Back to the Future, you got to watch Back to the Future. I don't care what age you are. I think that stands up. That movie stands up. You'll still enjoy it, even though you've just watched Avengers and Infinity whatever. You could still enjoy Back to the Future. But anyway, the time-traveling machine that they used in Back to the Future was the flux capacitor. Well, some people have developed a flux capacitor, but it's incredibly disappointing, because it does not actually do time travel. Well, in a way it does. If you're a fan of theoretical physics, then you know that time as the fourth dimension can be somewhat unpredictable. And the idea of linear time breaks down when you're talking about these tiny theoretical calculations. Well, this is sort of one of those situations where the flux capacitor is being used to manipulate quantum computing and the effect of time in quantum computing. But in no way does this contribute to human time travel. So if you're into that kind of thing, you read this Engadget article. But otherwise, Just miserable disappointment if you don't know about that, if you're not into that. And that's the end of the science section. And here we are. Oh, I pushed the button far too early, but oh, excuse me. I've just finished a bottle of wine. Not quite. I'm a little burpy. But Valve has removed a school shooting simulator from Steam. Yeah, that's right. Read that again. That's a school shooting simulator. There you go. Here's a screenshot of it. It is just a blatant asset, Unity assets. There's nothing original about this game. You can play from the perspective of the school shooter or the SWAT team tasked with stopping the school shooter. So, you can do either one, whichever one you identify most with. I say that you could do that, but you actually cannot do that on Steam because Steam has taken this game down. Now, this is a game company that has made a lot of terrible, terrible games. And they're all what are known as asset flips, where someone takes the Unity engine or some other game creation engine and buys some minimal assets off of the Unity store, just puts together a really minimal game and sells it for a couple bucks and hopes to make back their investment and more. But I will say, maybe one of the best video game names I've ever seen, possibly. Controversial, obviously they're going for controversy. We'll get that out of the way that, yeah, this is a controversial title, but that's what they're going for. And just for humor purposes, White Power, Pure Voltage. Pure Voltage. That's hilarious. Also, Tide Pod Challenge, where they say misspelled Tide, because that's a copyright, of course. And Zuck Simulator. Oh, they're talking about Mark Zuckerberg. How edgy. But yeah, Valve is... this showcases what a cesspool Valve has become. And they had the Greenlight program, and now they're doing the Steam Direct. And it just goes to show you that anybody who will pay... There's a fee that's involved with it. Jim Sterling does a great series of videos about this type of thing. Just ridiculous that there's no quality control on Steam, and it's becoming a real cesspool. Well, becoming. I mean, once you get the school shooter simulator, it's not becoming anymore. That you've arrived. You've arrived at the lowest common denominator when you get the school shooting simulator. So, a dark day for Steam, but at least they're getting rid of it. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of censorship, but no one's trying to make a point with the school. That's not social commentary. That's just, I don't even know what that is. That's just attention seeking, perhaps, is the way to describe that. Now, you know who doesn't need to seek attention? Who doesn't in any way need to curry attention from the public? How about the most popular game on the planet, right? That's Fortnite. Fortnite is incredibly popular, and despite being free to play, it's bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars just from its microtransactions alone. But the previous king of the hill, see what I did there, PUBG, not happy about that. Now, if you don't know the timeline, PUBG, using the Unity engine made by the company that created Fortnite, was the king of the hill. They were the last man standing when it came to Battle Royale. And we all loved it. We all played it. If you look at our Twitch stream, we play a lot of it. We play so much of it that there was an insurrection. People were angry about too much PUBG. Wendell is a little bit of a PUBG addiction. He doesn't like to admit it, but he's got it. Anyway, Fortnite came along and totally stole half of their market share. This article talks about how on Twitch, 300,000 people were watching Fortnite, while 27,000 people were watching PUBG when they wrote this article. And that is indicative of how quickly people are abandoning PUBG and going to Fortnite. Bluehole, which is the name of the company that owns PUBG, is angry about it. And their PUBG has like a child company under that, suing Fortnite for copyright violation. Now, I don't know what they're copywriting. We've talked about this before. PUBG actually sued some mobile games, and they sued them for things like frying pans, shipping containers, the use of Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. None of those things were created or invented by PUBG. All things that have appeared in games before now. And the idea of the Battle Royale game, not invented by PUBG. Popularized, maybe, you can make that argument, popularized, but not invented. So it's interesting to look at this lawsuit and sort of see, like, what is the argument here? And last time we talked about this, I made this comment, and I'll make it again, because I'm desperate for content at this point. I'm trying to stretch this out to 30 minutes just so we get the usual news time. But if PUBG wins a lawsuit against Fortnite by saying that we didn't invent it, but we popularized it, then id Software should stop whatever they're working on, hire as many lawyers as they can, and sue every video game that's ever existed since they released Wolfenstein and Doom. Because the entire Call of Duty Battlefield franchises, boom, pay us. Pay us for everything because we popularized it. How about if your game has mouse look, right? Quake. Quake was the first popular mouse look game. Well, if your game uses mouse look, pay up. id Software they should control the world if this lawsuit succeeds, because they popularized it. It's ridiculous. It's sad. I hate Fortnite. I played it a little bit. We played it on stream one night. I think it's a horrible experience. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way the guns worked, like the way that they limit the rate of fire. And that's not how guns work. You know, I've fired some guns and they fire as fast as you can pull the trigger, and that artificial limitation. Anyway, but even as much as I hate Fortnite and I love PUBG, I can't side with Bluehole or PUBG on this one. This is ridiculous. And this article also mentions, if you extrapolate the number of PUBG sales, it's in the billions of dollars. These guys are ludicrously rich from their game. Just be happy with that. It's disgusting. Disgusting. I'm stalling while I click GDPR cookie things. Google has labeled California Republicans as Nazis. Ooh, there's an accusation. There's an accusation that's not overused in the modern parlance. Nazis. Well, it turns out that some horrible person has gone into the California Democratic Party, or Republican, not Democratic. That's an important distinction, Republican, and modified their Wikipedia page, because Wikipedia, anybody can modify it, and listed Nazism as one of their core tenets. Now, they actually did have a California Republican who was somewhat supporting Nazism. He was kicked out of the party, but for 10 minutes, he was part of it, and, it made headlines. So it seems that Google picked up on that change in Wikipedia in an automated fashion. And when you Googled the California Republicans, it came up that one of their core tenets was Nazism. Nazism is kind of a dumb word, too. National Socialism is how you would describe that. So whoever made that edit didn't even know what the fuck they were talking about in terms of history. But yeah, the Republicans are crying foul. They're very upset because they're saying Google is partisan. They lean left. They discriminate against Republicans, and they're calling us Nazis. And probably not the case. Well, certainly the case that Google leans left. I mean, we've seen on YouTube the people who are getting demonetized. The fact that I said the word Nazi, well, let's be honest. We all knew that me being here alone for the news, we had no chance of being monetized. So, whatever. That's fine. But the word Nazi in the past has demonetized our videos for up to a day because the algorithm will parse Nazi. And I've said it so many times now, there's no chance, right? It'll parse that word and immediately demonetize you. And they'll give it back, but we get most of our views in that 24-hour period, so it screws us completely. And it's certainly true that right-wing ideology is more likely to be targeted on YouTube. But I don't think this situation is displaying that. This is just simply someone vandalized. They use the word vandalized Wikipedia, and Google picked up on it. And Google should do more to not fall victim to that, and not censor things prematurely, but they probably won't. And this harkens back to the EU, the link laws and the copyright laws. Pre-censorship seems to be the order of the future. Censor it first, shoot first, and ask questions later. That's the world we're going to live in. And that goes perfectly into the next story, which is Facebook censoring a 30,000-year-old statue depicting a naked woman. Not very attractive. Look at this naked woman. Not the best looking, but she is a fertility statue. She's the Venus of Willendorf. And clearly some sort of fertility symbol. She got the big boobs. She got the vagina showing. And it's a piece of art. It was shared on Facebook, and they like, oh, look at this piece of ancient art that we found. Everybody revel in its glory. And Facebook said, nope, those are boobs. They got to go. And they've since apologized. This is a long line of Facebook censoring first and asking questions later. There was a painting that they censored improperly. There was the picture of the young girl who was naked in Vietnam, whose clothes had been burned away by napalm. That was certainly it is a picture of a young nude girl, prepubescent, but the message isn't really, hey, look at this naked girl. It's, hey, this young girl was on fire. And so it shows the problem, the limitations of AI censorship, and how we might lose context and in fact, culture when we depend on AI to censor things. It's bad news. Once again, don't get your news from Facebook. That's stupid. This may be my favorite story this week was an unlimited supply of Corneas. I'm not going to backtrack on that. An unlimited supply of Corneas might also be a good band name. If you're starting a band, an unlimited supply of Corneas. It's a little long, but it's cool. But what would Hillary Clinton, what would her dream job be other than the first female president? What would she want to do? What modern job would perfectly fit with a despotic sociopath? Facebook. Oh, she wants to run Facebook. Well, that fits perfectly, doesn't it? That's surprising. Or not. So yes, Hillary Clinton was doing a Q&A. Some people actually want to hear what she has to say. And she was asked what job other than government would she want to do. And she said Facebook. Why? Because they control the information, of course. And she actually said that. And I'm paraphrasing. Excuse me. But yeah, Hillary admitted that Facebook basically controls the information. They control the zeitgeist. There's a word. There's a cool word. Yeah. And she wanted to be in charge of that. That's what she dreamed of. And it makes perfect sense because she is a control freak and she wants to control how people live. And Facebook would allow her to do that. Which are all admissions that are interesting in their own right. But yeah. I say let her run it. You know what? Let's put her in charge of it. I think it's her turn to run Facebook. Well, we've made it to the end. I did not finish the bottle. Sorry. I have my limitations. But we've made it to the end of the news for this week, of me being by myself. Next week, I'll go ahead and say next week, probably going to be one episode of just Krista and I. And then maybe we'll delay the recordings till Wendell's back. I don't know. Who knows? But shouldn't if you've sat through all these and you're like, I will kill myself if I have to sit through this moron doing it by himself again. You won't have to. Unless Krista goes back on another forest adventure next week, which I'm going to do my best to stop. But the last story of me by myself, Star Citizen has launched a $27,000 players pack. Now that is not a misplaced comma. A lot of you Euros like to use periods instead. I don't get that. I don't like it because the period comes for the cent portion, the 100th place portion of the. But that's not what's important. What's important is Star Citizen is launching a $27,000. Presumably, you will get this spaceship in it because you will get everything. And you would expect to get everything for $27,000. Now, you would have to already have spent $1,000 to even get access to the $27,000 DLC. So a total of $28,000 to get everything in the game. I am not sure. This article does not make it clear if that's everything from now on or if it's just everything right now. Because if they keep issuing DLC, and certainly it seems like they will, and you don't get everything for $27,000, then I don't even know. I don't know how to react to this. But if you know someone who bought the $27,000 Legatus pack from Star Citizen, here's what I would recommend. I would recommend you call them up and be like, oh man, Star Citizen, I love it so much. Oh my God, you have the Legatus pack? Oh, that's so cool. Oh man, can I borrow money? And then, after you borrow money, never speak to them again. That's my suggestion. I played a free weekend of Star Citizen. I didn't get it. I didn't get what everybody was so hyped about. It didn't seem like there was much going on. You know, but what do I know? Nothing. But anyway, if you got 30 grand burning a hole in your pocket and you wouldn't like to get a car or put a down payment on a home, there you go. You get every digital asset in Star Citizen for $27,000. That's 20,000 pounds in case you're a Brit. And that's the end. That's it. News is over, and we made it. And this was 39 minutes. 39 minutes. This shouldn't have been, but it was an experiment. You know, me by myself and abusing alcohol. Meh. Yeah. Do what you will with it, and we will be back next week with something else. I feel like I should have some sort of unifying statement to wrap it all up, but but I don't. And I'm going to go stream Graveyard Keeper until I sober up. And that will have happened long before you ever see this. So I don't even know why I mentioned that. But thanks for joining us. Thanks to our patrons, Level 1 patrons. I've said this in the past, but when it comes to intelligence, technical expertise, physical beauty, athletic performance, Level 1 patrons, every single one of them are in the top 1% of humanity. And they are the reason that we got this glitchy ass TV in the back here, and the redesign of the set, and all this wonderful equipment. And Wendell actually took equipment with him to Computex, and we still have equipment here. So we've got duplicates of things. Fantastic. They're God's people, and you can't say enough good about them. So thanks to those people, and thanks to the people who just simply watch on YouTube and comment, and even the nasty comments. You know what? We welcome those. And yeah, see you next week.